We come together with our tired minds and bodies, with our confusion and questions, our uncertainty and our fears. We come together with our hopes, with our past and our ideas, our passions and our faith. We come together bringing all of who we are, trusting that in gathering we will be renewed, and that together we can create the world we long for. Now, as you're willing and able, if you can stand for the first hymn, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire.
So, let's see. Vic, do you have sound on this one? Can y'all hear me? A little bit. Can you go just a little more? There you go. Good? Yes? All right. Welcome to the Unitarian Church. My name is Nathan. I'm one of your ministers. I'm very pleased to welcome you today. Online folks, we're glad you're with us today, as always. Today, during middle hour, in room 5 is the parenting support group for parenting in tumultuous times. That's in room 5. In room 6 will be a meet and greet with a minister. You get to guess which one. Will it be the one who is a month in and is preaching their first sermon and will probably be talking to you out here for a while? Or will it be the one that you have heard from for more than a decade? You'll have to go to find out. That's in room 6. And in room 7, the social justice sub-team on climate is having a special guest. Our own Gene Turner will be there to talk about dredging, right? Yes. So that is this week. The things coming up at 6 o'clock on Wednesday, we are going to have our first non-humorous fire pit gathering because it's actually going to feel good, right? A cold front is coming through today. And so it'll be in the low 70s, but please come 6 o'clock on Saturday. The other thing for you to mark your calendars, it is 1 month until Queer Fest. We've already got the musicians lined up. We do not have all 800 or whatever tickets sold. So if you know people you want to go to this, please start telling them about it. Like, we should promote this like it's really cool, because it is. Next Sunday, our own Jeff Gauger, who you'll hear doing music today, is preaching a sermon called Belief is Complicated. And then the following Sunday, we're going to have the strategic planning team is going to present their stage 2 of 10 of their results, which is actually a big deal, and they need your feedback. But so the 21st is going to be all about where you see your church going. So, it's good to be together. Welcome to the church.
So Reverend Meredith today is talking about calling. What is a calling? A calling is an idea that you have about yourself. So the story today is called What Do You Do with an Idea? It's by Kobe Yamada. One day I had an idea. Where did it come from? Why is it here? I wondered, what do you do with an idea? At first, I didn't think much of it. It seemed kind of strange and fragile. I didn't know what to do with it, so I just walked away from it and pretended like it wasn't there. But it followed me. I worried what others might think. What would people say about my idea? I kept it to myself. I hid it away and I didn't talk about it. I tried to act like everything was the same as it had been before my idea showed up. But there was something magical about my idea. I had to admit, I felt better and happier when it was around. It wanted food, it wanted to play. Actually, it wanted a lot of attention. It grew bigger, and we became friends. I showed it to other people, even though I was afraid of what they would say. I was afraid if people saw it, they would laugh at it. I was afraid they would think it was silly. And some of them did. They said it was no good, too weird, waste of time, would never become anything. And at first I believed them. I actually thought about giving up on my idea. But then I realized, what do they really know? It is my idea, I thought. Nobody knows it like I do. And it's okay if it's different and weird and maybe a little bit crazy. I decided to protect my idea, to care for it. I fed it good food, I worked with it, I played with it. But most of all, I gave it lots of attention. My idea grew, and so did my love for it. I liked being with my idea. It made me feel more alive, like I could do anything. It encouraged me to think big and then think even bigger. It shared its secrets with me. It showed me how to walk on my hands because it said, it is good to be able to look at things from a different perspective. I couldn't imagine my life without my idea. And then one day, something amazing happened. My idea changed right before my very eyes. It spread its wings, it took flight, and it burst into the sky. I don't know how to describe it, but it went from being here to being everywhere. It wasn't just a part of me anymore. Now it was a part of everything. And that, I realized, is what you do with an idea. You let it grow and let it change you, and you let it change your world.
Will you join me now in a moment of prayer? Loving God, Spirit of life, mystery in which we live and move and have our being, draw near to us this morning and hear our prayer. We give thanks for the gift of this day and the chance to gather, to sing, to breathe, to slow down, even just for an hour. We are thankful that we have a place where we can be ourselves, exactly as we are. For those who are exhausted, physically, emotionally, spiritually, may you find calm, peace, and rest. For those who are hurting, may you be soothed in this time together. For those who might be feeling this morning a call towards some kind of change, may you have the courage to make it. We lament this morning all the injustices of our world, the starvation and genocide in Gaza, the challenges of living in this country right now, too many even to name. Allow the seed of hope to be planted within us this morning for a better world. May it be so. Amen.
We have 2 cards to sign today. One card, excuse me, for Carolyn Summers, who's recovering from a scheduled surgery. So we'll be thinking of her. And also a long-term member of this church who heard the call to the ministry, Barbara Carlson. We have scheduled her memorial service, and that will be October 18th at 10 o'clock. So I just wanted to name it so that you could hear that. She served in Bloomington, and her memorial service up there will be the week before, October 11th. This ritual we have is open to everybody, visitor and member alike. We invite those who wish to come forward, or online to type it into the chat, and for in person to come forward either along this wall or this wall. Take a stone, let it represent whatever you're carrying or holding today, and place it in the chalice bowl. We now invite those who wish to come forward as we place stones. We say together, with hope to make this a better world, we light this flame. Its light is the symbol of the power of love.
From all that dwell below the skies, let songs of hope and faith arise. Let peace, goodwill on earth be sung.
Ministry, this is by Reverend Gordon McKeeman. He's an he was a Universalist minister from the 1940s and 50s. Ministry is a quality of relationship between and among human beings that beckons forth hidden possibilities, inviting people into deeper, more constant, more reverent relation with the world and with one another. Carrying forward a long heritage of hope and liberation that has dignified and informed the human venture over many centuries. Being present with, to, and for others in their terrors and torments, in their grief, misery, and pain. Knowing that those feelings are our feelings too. Celebrating the triumphs of the human spirit, the miracles of birth and life, the wonders of devotion and sacrifice. Witnessing to life's enhancing values, speaking truth to power, standing for human dignity and equity, for compassion and aspiration. Believing in life in the presence of death, struggling for human responsibility against principalities and struggles that ignore humanness and become instruments of death. Glad that's not relevant at all today anymore. In all these and much, much more than all of them, present in the wordless, the unspoken, the ineffable, it is speaking and living with the highest we know and living with the knowledge that it is never as deep or as wide or as high as we wish. Whenever there is a meeting that summons to us our better selves, wherever our lostness is found, our fragments are united, or our wounds begin healing, our spines stiffen and our muscles grow stronger for the task, there is ministry.
It is Sunday morning, around 6:30, and I can hear my mom coming up the stairs. I've just opened my eyes, awakened by the sound of her movements, and I can tell by the way she's tiptoeing, trying to be quiet, that no one else is awake. I'm sure she's been up for a while working on her sermon. I try to go back to sleep, but I can't. Like her, I am an early riser by nature. After a while, I hear the whoosh of her blow dryer and smell the slightly burnt scent of her hot rollers heating up. She comes in to say goodbye before heading down the road to the church, leaving before me, my sister, or my brother are out of bed. We arrive later for the 11 o'clock service, right before the bells ring. The music begins, and I see my mom slowly moving from pew to pew, greeting everyone, checking in. She kneels down to talk to a little boy, and then she makes her way over to us, laying her hand tenderly on my dad's shoulder. "Good to see you guys," she says, and she moves to the next pew. Soon the music stops, and my mom does a little jog from the back of the sanctuary up to the pulpit. The service begins, and soon we are singing together, the reason I come here to this place to worship. When I hear all of our voices join together, a part of me is lifted. Even as a teenager, the weights of the week feel washed away from my body. My mom moves toward the pulpit again, this time for her sermon. I can't remember anything specific about the sermon that day, other than the feeling I experienced during it, a pull deep within toward ministry. A thought planted in the back of my mind that maybe that's what I was supposed to do. But within the newness and excitement of that first call, I also felt fear. I felt my veins run colds. I could not imagine what it would mean to answer this calling. And so I cast the thought out of my mind and buried it way down deep within my soul. Years later, I sought out a Methodist minister and mother of 4 for coffee and for her thoughts on pursuing a call to ministry. And I remember her saying, "If you can do anything else, you probably should." And I knew what she meant. Growing up as the child of a UU minister, I saw how deep and intense this work can be. I saw some of the best parts and also some of the hardest parts. Because of the seriousness of the call and how deeply I feel things, I needed some time for that idea, that calling, to still be just mine before I was ready to share it with the world. I had already been trying to do the other things that minister had been talking about. After college, I had worked some in education, and while I loved working with kids, there were so many other challenges that I knew would burn me out fast. I took evening classes during this time in social work, considering pursuing a master's. There were people and things I loved about each of those, but the call to ministry showed up again in a different way. You know when you're trying on a piece of clothing, like a sweater, and it's fine, but it doesn't fit quite right, like the sleeves are too short, or it hits you at the wrong spot? Everything I was trying felt like that, off in some way, and I was frustrated with myself, feeling the pressure to have everything figured out, whatever that means. But in that way, in that calling away from all these things that didn't feel right, the call to ministry kept growing stronger. One of my teachers in divinity school used to tell us that you don't magically become a minister one day upon ordination. You're made a minister many times over in the tiny little ways that no one sees, sometimes not even you, until you look back years later. Calling for me has been like that. A deep, true calling is not just something that happens once or even twice. It starts sometimes, as I described earlier, in one specific moment, and then it happens again and again in 1,000 little ways, in all sorts of places you wouldn't expect. We humans are stubborn creatures, or at least I am. We need to hear things multiple times, sometimes from different people, and in lots of different ways for our brains to allow them to sink in. We aren't just called to things either. We are also called to leave behind places, relationships, people that aren't serving us. We are called to make a change when we aren't caring for ourselves in the way we'd like. We can be called away from religious backgrounds that no longer serve us, where we don't see ourselves represented. Calling isn't just about ordained ministry. I hope that anyone who has ever felt that pull can see and hear themselves in this story.
And maybe you feel called to the offering. All right, a few things first. If you are not, or wait, maybe you feel called to teach Sunday school. And if you do feel so called, and you've already said yes, you need to go to a teacher training that is on September 20th or the 21st as a backup, or if you feel called but have not yet volunteered, okay. Or you may feel called to know how much we brought in our one-day-only stewardship drive last week. By finishing a stewardship drive standards, not very good. By this church's standards, excellent. A reminder, we bring in about 250 to 300 pledges from each family. Those pledges last year totaled $530,000. We need to get to $600,000 to meet our budget. So, as of Sunday, we haven't put anyone who put cards in or anyone who put things online later in the week or put them in that box. We have not counted them since Sunday, but as of Sunday, 79 of you have pledged, which is exactly where we are when we run the whole month-long stewardship drive also, by the way. 79 of you have already pledged, raising $230,000, which for the 79 is phenomenal. But remember, the pledge drive is over, so now we've got to get the rest of you to give now that the pledge drive is over. So for the other 221 families, please turn in your pledge card. Also, this whole month we are sharing our offering because the offering only brings in about 1% of the budget. So the pledging is what really funds the church. This is a spiritual practice. We are sharing with Humanities. No, I lied. It's a new month, and we are sharing it with the Interfaith Federation. Part of the reason we're doing that this month, and specifically the part of the Interfaith Federation that is the Holy Grill, that is a soup kitchen up in Zion City, is because on September 11th is the annual prayer breakfast, and we would love for you to be able to go to that. So if you would like to, I don't see Mary Ellen, so talk to me and I will tell you how to do that. So with that, I will ask you to give very generously as this morning's offering is gratefully given and received.
So a calling can be something you do professionally. It can also be a place you follow your heart. I have been a musician all of my life, but I have never been a paid musician in a staff role or any other role. The calling is there whether you're paid to do it or not. And so one of the things that happens for me when I go to General Assembly, which is the big annual gathering of Unitarian Universalists from all over the country, is we get a chance to sing together. And it is glorious and it is wonderful. And whether you're a musician or not, it is glorious and wonderful. And the song that I am about to teach you is one that I sung a couple of years ago in a big group of musicians at the Musicians Conference. And then we did it again this last year at General Assembly. And I came back and said, Lee, we have to do this. Nathan, we have to do this. Unfortunately, they said, yes, we have to do this. So I'm going to teach you a song. It's written by Adam Podd, who's the music director up in Brooklyn. It's called Joy in the Morning, and I'll line it out one line at a time. Y'all come after me. And then when we're ready to sing, I'll invite you to rise. My turn. We'll have joy in the morning. Try that. We'll have joy in the morning. 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 In the morning, we'll have joy. In the morning, we'll have joy. And I invite you to rise as you are willing and able. We'll have joy in the morning. Joy in the morning. Joy in the morning. In the morning, we'll have joy. We find. Okay? I screwed up. I will do the last line, in the morning we'll find joy, and then I'm going to let you do all 4 measures of that glorious interlude, and y'all are going to help me stay silent for 4 measures while Lee does glorious things on the piano. In the morning we'll find joy. In the hope in our children, we find hope in our children. Hope in our children. In our children, we'll find hope. We find strength in each other.
For a New Beginning by John O'Donohue. In out-of-the-way places of the heart, where your thoughts never think to wander, this beginning has been quietly forming, waiting until you were ready to emerge. For a long time, it has watched your desire, feeling the emptiness growing inside you, noticing how you willed yourself on, still unable to leave what you had outgrown. It watched you play with the seduction of safety and the gray promises that sameness whispered, heard the waves of turmoil rise and relent, wondered, would you always live like this? Then the delight when your courage kindled and you stepped onto new ground, your eyes young again with energy and dream, a path of plenitude opening before you. Though your destination is not yet clear, you can trust the promise of this opening. Unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning that is at one with your life's desire. Awaken your spirit to adventure, hold nothing back, learn to find ease in risk. Soon you will be home in a new rhythm, for your soul senses the world that awaits you.
I asked for that John O'Donohue poem to be read this morning because I think one of the scariest parts about being called and pulled towards something new is the idea of what it would mean to answer, because it always involves some kind of risk, some change, saying yes when it would be so much easier to say no. But as O'Donohue reminds us, there has to be a trust there. We have to trust the process, the promise. Trust in terms of call is about knowing that it's real enough to let it out into the world. And that often takes time to be sure of, to know. Letting people see your calling, your idea, your true self, knowing that not everyone will hold them with the tenderness that we do. To trust or to say yes to a new person or a new minister can be hard too. You've built relationships and trust with someone who's no longer here, and now you are being asked to open yourself up again, not knowing what will come next. That is a vulnerable thing to do. This congregation has been in transition for a while and will continue to be for some time as I settle into the role as your minister of congregational life. I know that this transition is happening fast in some ways, and that there are things you will miss about Reverend Chris's ministry, things that I may not bring. Even though the role is filled, anytime someone leaves our community, the loss of their presence is felt. And when a new person comes, though they bring their own strengths, they don't replace what came before. As with any transition, there is tenderness here, all the way around, and that's okay. It is also true that all change, even change we embrace wholeheartedly, requires loss of what once was in order to accept what is or what will be. And with that loss comes grief. It is almost always easier to focus elsewhere, to direct ourselves toward details, than to acknowledge our grief and begin to work through that. It happens slowly, and it takes time. I shared last week, for folks who were here, about the experiential education work I did at Heifer Ranch. And that was really the last bit of my hesitation, of my trying to do the other things that that minister was talking about, that gave me that push towards seminary. I never planned to work on a ranch, to milk goats, to tend gardens, to teach in outdoor classrooms, much less to like it. My thought, after wading into a few other helping professions and amidst much change during that part of my life, was that maybe some sort of nonprofit work was the right fit. I was interested in working at Heifer International, and it seemed like everyone there had previously worked at the ranch, their educational facility. And so I rather reluctantly said yes when a spot opened up, even though I felt like I had no idea what I was doing. Life was different there. I watched the sun rise and set almost every day from my porch, cooked food that we grew ourselves, had almost no money, and did not care. I made friendships that are still meaningful to me, and eventually a clarity emerged about what was important. The work that I did there, being up close with things that are alive and that need care, helped a part of me to come alive too. I learned to have compassion for myself for not having everything figured out, and that life is not lived on a timeline. It's not a race to be run. The more I allowed myself to breathe, the more connected I felt to the world around me. I was overcome by gratitude for tiny things like a wash of bright pink in the sunset, and came to hear the crunch of my feet over gravel roads as my prayer. And almost daily, it felt like the universe was sending me tugs, pulls, signs, reverberations of that one Sunday morning years ago. And so I was finally ready to answer yes, not sure what life had in store. So on that note, let us rise and sing.
Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I made my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. Just as long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my dark, always what elusive spark. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to truth. Just as long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappointments pierced through me, still I kept on loving you. If they ask what I did best, tell them I said yes to love.
Under a sky the color of pea soup, she is looking at her work growing away there actively, thickly like grapevines or pole beans as things grow in the real world, slowly enough. If you tend them properly, if you mulch, if you water, if you provide birds that eat insects a home and winter food, if the sun shines and you pick off caterpillars, if the praying mantis comes and the ladybugs and the bees, then the plants flourish at their own internal clock. Connections are made slowly. Sometimes they grow underground. You cannot tell always by looking what is happening. More than half the tree is spread out in the soil under your feet. Penetrate quietly as the earthworm that blows no trumpet. Fight persistently as the creeper that brings down the tree. Spread like the squash plant that overruns the garden. Gnaw in the dark and use the sun to make sugar. Weave real connections, connect real nodes, build real houses. Live a life you can endure. Make love that is loving, keep tangling and interweaving and taking more in. A thicket and bramble wilderness to the outside, but to us, interconnected with rabbit runs and burrows and lairs. Live as if you liked yourself, and it may happen. Reach out, keep reaching out, keep bringing in. This is how we are going to live for a long time. Not always. For every gardener knows that after the digging, after the planting, after the long season of tending and growth, the harvest comes.
I have put in the work, the miles on the road, the hours on Zoom calls, the late nights finishing sermons, to do this work even when it seemed like life had other plans. And even on days that are hard, I don't wish that I was doing something else. I can't predict the future, but what I can do is be open and authentic with you and say that I hope that this is a ministry that lasts a long time. My call to ministry is about relationships. I didn't go into ministry to be the center of attention. This is probably the most you'll ever hear me talk about myself in one controlled setting. I love writing as a means of ongoing conversation with people, being forced to produce something, to create something on a regular basis, to work with a team to make things happen. I always think about times that I have sat in the chairs where you are. You come in on any given Sunday, especially if you're new, and almost anything could be going on in your life. Waiting for a test to come back, uncertainty about a relationship, a job, finances, the state of the world. And worship, being here, is almost an escape, not in that it allows you to put those things out of your mind. It's kind of the opposite. We ask you to hold them in a new way. It's almost like when you're sitting with other people, hearing music that moves you, listening to familiar words wash over you, dropping a smooth stone warm from your touch amongst all the others, that you can hold the pain, confusion, fear, just a little better, or at least I can. I came to Baton Rouge for this church. There are other reasons, but those live in the background. You are the foreground. I wanted a healthy church to serve and to grow with, a supportive senior minister to serve alongside, somewhere to put down roots, somewhere my son can grow up. My family was looking for a stronger community, less transient, more settled. And though there are things that are really hard about living in Louisiana, we were already doing that. As my mother reminded me, not making a choice is also making a choice for things to stay the same. It was time for us to move forward. This is the first time in my life that I have ever had the freedom to start a ministry position without an end date. Finally, I can put down roots somewhere. In the other ministries I've served, student, intern, interim, you can't stay. They either already have a minister or an interim will be looking soon. And so you can't stay even if you wanted to. There's freedom in that in some ways. Some people are more open with you, others less. The tasks are laid out before you. There's certain work that has to be done. And because of that, there is a directness to it, an element of cutting right to the heart of the matter. As I begin this new ministry with you, there are no time limits. The central task over the next year is getting to know each other. If you'd like to talk to me, I'm here. If you'd like to grab coffee, I'm here. Or if you're more shy, if you're in the background, if you take time to warm up, I'm here for that too. One of my mentors in ministry once said to me that the most important thing you can bring to a new ministry is new eyes. When we're new to a place, we bring with us questions and curiosity that fades as we begin to learn a new system and to understand the way it functions. And so it's important for me to go slow, to pay attention, to ask questions, to learn about what has come before. It may not feel like things are happening, but in reality, the most important work is already underway. In the words of Marge Piercy that we heard earlier, connections are made slowly. Sometimes they grow underground. You cannot tell always by looking what is happening. I, unlike others here, am not a gardener, mostly because I have too many other things to keep alive right now. But I know that roots take time to grow, and they are eventually what hold us in place, upright, that allow us to withstand all kinds of wind. This is how we are going to live together for a long time. May it be so. Amen. Now let us rise, in body or in spirit.
Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in all. Keep with the web of creation your vow. Giving, receiving as love shows us how. Wake now my reason, reach out to the new. Join with each pilgrim who quests for the true. Honor the beauty and wisdom of time. Suffer thy limit and praise the sublime. Wake now, compassion, give heed to the cry. Voices of suffering fill the white sky. Take as your neighbor both stranger and friend, praying and striving their hardship to end. Wake now my conscience, with justice thy guide. Join with all people whose rights are denied. Take not for granted a privileged place. God's love embraces the whole human race. Wake now my vision of ministry clear. Brighten my pathway with radiance near. Mingle my calling with all who will share. Work toward a planet transformed by our care.
May you say yes this morning to all that is calling within you. Let us go in peace. Amen.